How's it going? I'm just explaining a couple of things here on my channel, my YouTube channel that I made here. It is Strange Phenomenon Talk with Chris Kalam. My real name is Christopher Columbus Lanham III, and I go by Chris Kalam because it's short, and we've used Kalam in our history. What's her name? We just cut the bus off and went with Kalam. And actually, withdrawn I believe the Lanham name before too. So I may have had that and then withdrawn that. Chris Columbus, Lanham the Third, aka Sir Kalam or Chris Kalam. Strange Phenomenon Talk with Chris Kalam. So if you see a Sasquatch, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to people who have seen UFOs. If you come on here and you make up a story, it better be a good one. You better have it straight if it's not real and authentic. Otherwise, it won't really matter for you. It'll be a big joke, and I'll just have to probably erase this, or I don't know what I'll do with it. Maybe I'll keep it. But I'm going here to screen share my stats. Strange phenomenon. There's a channel we're going to talk about how I came up with the Pangaea-Expando, where Pangaea-Sphere-Expando. It expands from there to where it's at now. On Strange Phenomenon Talk with Chris Columbus, otherwise known as Chris Kalam. So here's how I did it. I watched this. I've been watching this these ancient aliens show on the History Channel. I've been watching that for a while, since maybe 2013. Maybe I picked up and started watching that. I think it goes back that far. Actually, what I think it is I started watching it last year, and I was able to go back to see this is online. I can go onto my Xfinity, and they'll let me preview almost as many of those as I could. I was blocked a couple of different times by episodes that I wanted to see that I knew about that I hadn't seen, and I was unable to see them. So, anyways, I give them a little bit of credit for me finding this this Pangaea-Sphere-Expando, for coming up with it. Pangaea by itself, now to me in particular, I'm going to think now that it is equivalent to when people were telling Christopher Columbus that the world was flat instead of being round, and he knew it was round by the way that the stars set at night and stuff like that. He was kind of an astronomer type. Something put it into perspective where he knew for sure. Otherwise, I don't know that anybody would go if they actually truly believed that you'd fall off like a big cliff was going to end, and you're going to fall off indefinitely or something. But that's what people believed back then, and other people were believers, went on the voyage with him, or for whatever reason, he had people that went on this voyage with him. So the Pangaea theory now was a good one back in the day when the man thought about it, but he stopped too soon with just the Pangaea by itself. By looking at a map, how they put the map together, and that's how he came up with this, with just the Pangaea. But to me, I'm saying that it's equivalent to them saying the world was flat when the world was round. Them just stopping at Pangaea. So we'll bring the ancient aliens into this and the History Channel from them showing me lines of how this right here, pyramids line up. Mexico, Egypt, China, they line up all together. Now, if we go over here to the Pangaea, it it disproves science theories altogether. It disproves them. If this all shape was all together like that, and it has been coming together since billions of years or whatever, how many long ago it started coming apart. In my opinion now, I'm still thinking they're saying the world is flat here and not round that it is. The body of water came in after, it came in during the flood time, but it came in not during the time of the continents being together, being connected. These all made one planet, and there was no way that these sites could line up today if they were all the way that they said that the Pangaea was together. Let's see, like, I'll show you. Put my hands together. When they say the Pangaea is all together, and then all that body of water, I don't see how it could have had lined up the way that they're all lined up with the stars. It just shows that also as time's progressed and the world has expanded and gotten larger, that all these places have expanded and separated, but have been right on point of where they've been from the past, from however long time that the world was made and together. It had more crustacean covering the planet than it did ocean. You'd have had probably, I would say you would have probably have had this you would have had the Atlantic Ocean maybe, like a nice portion of that in there. And I was also thinking that they had an ocean that was like a river, but it was an ocean river that ran somewhere, and I don't know. I just have it's like a theory, I guess. It's a guess. It's a wild guess. But my wild guess is that there was an ocean river. It was like an ocean, but huge and flew like that for some reason. But anyhow, these guys could not have lined up if they were in the Pangaea form. There's no way. So I came up with what I have here. Oh yeah, I do that. I had so many different things to this thing. Just all over the place. Stop sharing. Okay, share. Okay, here's the Pangaea that I put together. It was like inside out. So instead of seeing it from the outside, like we're normally used to, we see it this way right here, right? So I flipped it inside out. From the India side to the South America side. On one Pangaea picture that I had drawn up and printed out. So the ancient alien lines led me to this theory that really I don't see how it could be any other way. Like I said, I truly believe that them saying that the Pangaea was not all together on all sides, and it was a much smaller planet at the time. And somebody not being able to help me put this into a real model somehow is kind of laughable, and it makes me my conclusion, I believe that it's the same like they told Christopher Columbus. They told another Christopher Columbus back in the day that the world was flat. And of course we know that it is not. So now we have to look into this other speculation on the world, and we have to consider something that was there all along that he didn't get to see. Because if you look, I'll show you. Picture of that planet, of the planet, of planet Earth. So we look at Earth, and there's another model here. So when the gentleman put that together, he was looking at a map. So let's see if we can say that. Let's say map planet Earth. Here it is. Map of planet Earth. This is what he was looking at. My computer is running a little slow because of all these open boxes. If it kicks off, I don't know what else to do. I'll have to end the program like that. So we got all these line up things. They throw this into why I came up with this theory, right? They couldn't line up if they were all in a Pangaea before. None of the pyramids or anything today would line up mysteriously like they explain on the History Channel. It just debunks that. Their theory that this even was like that, and that was not much smaller. That's my. The world is not flat. The world is round. It's, my speculation is that it was much smaller and that it connected on all sides. I don't understand why they wanna screw with people like this. I'm seeing an image. I just want to look at the image. If it's online, they can argue with you all that they want about it. So anyway, so in aspect to what I was saying, how you look at this and how you're able to match it up, how I was able to match up this on the other side. See, this top part flipped in there. You have to also take into consideration that it's flat. So I said there's a glass type of theory. There's a glass approach, glass like empty glass, but the spheric shape of the glass. So because it's flat and it's squared off like that, the way that they have it shaped and flat up against the wall, you have to take it in order to put it back into a ball shape. You have to take it off and put it on into a glass, and then from there pull it apart and be able to put it back in round, how it goes back together. But all sides, this whole thing, everywhere, comes right back together on each side. But the gentleman stopped with just right in here, how these line up. And that all must have been in the Pangaea form there. But they stopped there and they didn't put, this is the one that I have. This is the model of right here. And this, you see this part, it flipped all the way around and went in there even. So everything lined up just, about perfectly. Enough for, a planet, the shape of a planet, and how you have different things like lakes or creeks and everything else with flowing water. And I believe that there's a little bit of a difference in how the water system worked before the Great Flood. I think it changed. There was a change of events of that. Also, not just from the expanding of the planet growing twice as large as it was once before. The planet is 3 times, at least. If there's that much more, if there's 2 times the amount of water, then the planet is roughly under 2 times its original size from when it came together and was formed and was made. And that right there, sirs and ma'am, is how I came up with the Pangaea-Sphere-Expando. Pretty interesting. So it could not have all been together like that through time. All this stuff has truly been, water's been maybe even still accumulating here from space, coming in directly from space. Maybe that's how it also protects itself from a lot of projectiles from space. I don't know. There's big deep abysses that we can't even reach in the planet. So there's a lot of theories that you could have going into this place, into this thing. But there it is, is my thought. But that's how the gentleman who came up with the Pangaea was just looking at this like this. He was like, oh wow, those all go together. But then he was thrown off, maybe he didn't even consider the other sides. But he also wasn't evaluating the water source either. And there's that much more water than there originally was. So I don't know how I'm going to make a model of this. So I'm going to have to take something quite like a picture like this, but it has to be somewhat Pangaea form. So I have to try to get as close to a model of the Pangaea as possible in order for me to be able to put this type of crap that they did here to it back into a global shape, and have to figure out how it was actually in a ball at one time. Oh, did you see that? That looked awesome. See that? That's a good one. These shapes that don't fill the whole screen. That's why I like this one. Look at that. Because it's perfect. It goes all the way across the screen like that. Perfect. Whoever did this picture did an excellent job. I'm saying these are that shabby, it's just way too small. I'm looking at this. If you knew what I was looking at this on, see I have my little laptop, but I have this hooked up to a 32-inch screen monitor, so I can see it pretty good, but not nearly as well as I was looking at it like this. So, and then again, I'm gonna have to figure out how to subtract all this water. Take about, like I said, almost 2 times the amount of water that's there. Just about leave roughly enough for where your oceans and whatnot would remain in, wherever that main river ocean thing I was talking about might be. Throw that into the equation, but much smaller. So I'm gonna have to figure this one out. So I figured out that the Pangaea is it was only the start to figuring out the entire story of Earth, altogether. Pangaea is only one key, but it's like I said, it leads you to a conclusion that the world is flat, not round. When you just stop dead cold there, so it's actually Pangaea-Sphere-Expando, and it's a complete world. It's not with this big body of ocean out there. Through that much time, anybody can scientifically see how the Earth can expand through time, twice its size, with just water coming here and adding here over and over and over and over again. But there's for you scientists that just gave you a huge, huge clue on what the world is all about. You can thank the ancient alien people there for helping Chris at Strange Phenomenon Talk for being able to come up with that for everybody. But it's true. It all come together, all the sides, not just in the middle. Anyways, I don't know what else to say. I was gonna say something that I believe something weird about the universe. I would say galaxy. What's bigger? The galaxy, right? We have different universes. What's bigger? The universe, right? They say there's multiple universes now, right? Well, space in general, I think it expands to how many people or beings are born. So that expands when people and the earth expands, and it reacts how we react. So good or bad, it'll be good or bad depending on people's reaction. It's a reflection of us. I think that we all come to a point where we either, if we do good or if we're, say, spiritually sound. That's what I believe. I'm not going to push religion on anybody, my religion. So I'm just going to say what I believe with basics without any real saying exact. Um, I believe that they'll come to a point where they talk about on ancient aliens, speaking of them, that some people believe that they can be converted into gods. The Mormons believe that. Excuse me. And what I believe is that God will, once He got your trust, has your trust, and accepts you if you're accepted into the pearly gates, that He'll make you like Himself. He's a God, so how could that not be describing the Bible and Christianity of not being yourself turned into a God yourself? So you may be made perfect. It says that God will make you perfect if you make it. So I believe that everything in space does things. They're either gonna be eternally screwed up, and then they'll just limb out and just disappear, or something kind of mysterious will happen with them, or to reflect somebody that earned the right to become a god, or somebody that was just and noble, maybe had humility, wasn't a complete jerk off to people, took his authority seriously, or the power that he's given. So that turns into a reflection into space, and what scientists or astronauts and uh, other people that do their type of research are seeing. So they're seeing a reflection of us, and the stars, and that's what we see. It's weird, but they all come to a point where they're going to either, like I said, dim out or go away, or they'll be perfect. So each thing maybe goes through its own process, but that's just what like another theory that I have about what space is doing, what it amounts to, because there's a mystery and people wonder, well, what is going on with space in particular. I think it's a reflection of us, and to a point, everything will come to pass, or it'll die, or it'll be perfect somehow. Somehow it'll turn itself into being perfect. So anyhow, I guess I've said too much weird stuff, so I'm gonna go. Peace. Take care.